You were the first investor in Sam Altman. You were the first investor in 23andMe. How's your ego?
I don't think of myself as an egotistical person.
No, neither did I, but that's the reason I wanted to ask, is because in my opinion, you've had such a profoundly successful career, yet you're so down to earth and humble.
Oh, let's sit here. Shall we sit here?
Sure.
And give Baruch a little break.
Yeah, we'll give you a break.
We can sit here because it's kind of meditative. Like this.
Oh, yeah. So I guess one way or another, the White Sox will reveal themselves, huh?
You could edit that out.
Yeah, I'm not that talented. Okay, so
we will just go like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna get canceled for some form of appropriation in Berkeley right now.
We're letting go of ego.
All right, it's gone.
I don't think of myself as successful.
Why?
So, yes, because I was going to say because I don't really have a definition for success, but actually I do have a definition for success, and that has very little to do with
professional
work.
success.
Yes, that's
no,
right.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
My understanding of success comes a lot more from my relationships with other people than it would from any professional achievement. Is that the same for you?
It is the same for me.
So then why is there such a societal fixation on professional success?
Because society is not a person, because society is a system, and as a system, we grow and we thrive when people are productive. And so the Commerce Department or the Labor Department produce statistics not of, people's gross happiness. They produce statistics about people's gross productivity, because the society is like a machine. We're all cogs in the machine,
right.
And the machine has got to be faster or better than the Chinese machine and the Russian machine and the Greenlandic machine. Let's go walk somewhere else.
Yes, please. My back is getting tired.
Okay. This is fun. You ask very interesting questions. Usually people don't ask questions like this.
Well, you give very profound answers. The things that I'm most excited to conquer is, having a family, having friends, having an abundant. That's how I measure affluence. It's by the quality of love you have in your life. Not necessarily how many people you love, more about the quality of the love that you do receive.
I think that is, Nat, I think you have, if you discover that early in life, then actually I think you are at a huge advantage.
Thank you.
Because you will have so many more decades to compound your achievement of that. A lot of people work so hard, they weren't pre-med, so they went to law school, they got into law school, they started working as a corporate lawyer, and then they wake up and they're 40 and they're like, I hate this.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing ever. I don't want to have this job. I don't want to be married to you. Then they have this massive midlife crisis. They quit their job. They divorce their spouse. They become a yoga instructor. They go insane. Their children, if they have any, suffer. It's really crazy because they just weren't thinking what do I actually want? From a younger and younger age, you are taught here are the things that are the markers for success.
Right.
And if you don't work for them and if you don't get them, even if you don't want them, you're a loser.
So how can we change that way of thinking so that the future generations will have a much higher average of happiness?
I think it is changing a bit. I think as between millennials and Gen Z, I feel like Gen Z is a lot better at this. Because I think the millennials and the Gen X people who preceded the millennials, they were in this mode of, just careerist. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're Gen Z, and so I feel like Gen Z is a lot more I don't want to do the default thing. I don't want to just go get a corporate job. I want to actually do the thing that I was meant to do, and I don't care what other people think.
I mean, I certainly feel that.
But do you feel like it's more true for your generation?
I don't know if I can speak confidently on behalf of my peers, but I will say I will say that a lot of what I see in Berkeley, unfortunately, is people pursuing something that they don't have a passion for, or that doesn't feel like their calling in life. I'll say, why are you becoming a doctor? Well, I never thought of doing anything else. I can't see myself doing anything else. Do you love it? Does the idea of sitting there and thinking of the day that when you're a doctor and you get to help people excite you? Does it thrill you? No, I just really don't know what else would. So, and I see too much of that at Berkeley. Now, I also see a lot of innovation. I see a lot of creative people. I see people who kind of want to forge their own path with something that's a little bit outside of the box, and I think it's fantastic. But there is still an abundance of the opposite.
Yeah, I would not object if people just wanted to try it, or they wanted to try medicine, or they wanted to try banking, consult, one of those default things. Are you actually willing to try other things if you don't like it?
Yeah.
Or are you resigning yourself to a fate of this thing that I thought I'd hate. Now I've confirmed I hate it, but I'm still going to do it anyway.
Do you know how one can shift his motivation from, let's say, doing it for external validation as opposed to doing it because it's intrinsically fulfilling?
I think there's a balance to be had because we all live in a society. We all live with, none of us live in a vacuum by ourselves. If we lived in a vacuum all by ourselves, then yes, we would do things probably only because of ourselves. But we live in a society with other people. But I think your question may be, some people sometimes do it not for others, but they do it for their perception of what others will think of them.
Yes, to satiate that need for validation.
Yes.
One's acceptance of you can be malleable. It changes with time. And if you depend on it to make you feel fulfilled and then one day it's revoked, I think it'll leave people deeply unhappy.
Yes, absolutely. The times that were the most like pivotal when I look back are the times when I just like bumped into someone and they were like, when I was at McKinsey, I got admitted to this JD MBA program. I was all set to go. Like, it was like the pinnacle. I was like, had worked so hard to get in. And then I literally bumped into my high school friend in a parking lot. And he was like, hi. I was like, hi, how are you? And he was like, good. He's like, I'm starting a company. Do you want to join us? I'm like, really? Tell me more about it. He was like, at first I was like, no, of course I don't. I got into grad school. And then he was like, why don't you come by and just take a look? And so I went and I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I deferred my admission.
Really?
And yeah, because it was just like, because if you have I think an orientation of openness that says, yes, this was the path and this was where I had like prepared to go. But if something interesting comes along, like, I feel like life is life. You just have to be prepared to jump. So those are times when I feel like that is, a lot of people don't feel like free to jump.
Yeah. Do you attribute that serendipitous success to something greater than you? Do you think the universe conspires in your benefit, or do you think it's just chance?
I think it's chance, but I believe also that, kind of we make our own luck. You have to know yourself, and you have to know what you like, and what really kind of resonates best with you. And then, so that's number one, knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And then number two is like when a circumstance comes along and it matches the thing that you are, that you leap on it, that you have the courage to say, I really love this thing, this path that I never thought of. That path that I never thought of looks so much better than the path that I created for myself that I thought I'd be on the rest of my life.
Yeah.
In that prototypical midlife crisis, it's like you were on that path, you were a corporate lawyer, and then all of a sudden they're like, whoa. It gets too painful if you go too far down, and then you have like a really terrible wrenching thing where you have to like switch paths in a very dramatic way.
What advice would you give to people in their 20s that are struggling to determine what their purpose is?
Oh wow, this looks like a mass wedding. Does that look like a mass wedding to you? Is that a mass wedding?
I don't know, let's go find out.
It looks like many brides and many grooms.
Well, let's go talk to them.
Okay, let's go talk to them. Oh wait, this is not a mass wedding. This is like a debutante ball. Or no, it's a Viennese style ballroom dancing troupe. Oh, but she's carrying a sword. So it really can't be. It's not that.
A circumcision, maybe? Baruch and I have PTSD. We can't go back.
Is this a mass wedding?
Actually, yes. We're all in the biggest polygon you've ever
What is this?
I feel like he's going crazy.
Or are you an a cappella group?
Those are the two options. Ironically enough, somewhere in between, I guess.
I did see a sword though.
Oh, really?
Oh, like a ballroom dance. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Ball opening committee.
Viennese ball.
Right.
What is a Viennese dance? That's what I said. I was like, is that a group wedding?
It's a dance group. It's a dance group.
Okay, Nat.
Yes. We talked about embracing uncertainty, being open.
Yes. Uncertainty, right. Okay, yes. What were we talking about? Uncertainty. Yes.
I'm uncertain. Talk to me about how you and Sam Altman met and how that relationship started.
I met him right here, actually, on campus, on the Stanford campus.
Really?
Because he had entered a business plan competition when he was a sophomore, and I was a judge at the business plan competition. And I really loved him. I loved what he was doing. And at the end of the competition, I was like, hey, if you want to build this as a company, I would totally back you. And he said, what would that mean? And then we talked about it. And we actually flew to Kansas City together because the thing that he needed to build needed some carrier support that we could not get in those days without going to see a big carrier. And when we got our first carrier deal, he took a leave of absence, and I was his first investor. And And he was my first investment. And then I served on his board for almost 8 years.
As a VC, you have to make a lot of investments, most of which will not prevail. I feel like you put your money into 10 companies, maybe 1 or 2 will succeed if you're lucky.
Yes.
What's the feeling you have when you invest in a company? Do you feel certain every time?
I think you have to feel totally bought in every single time. You have to invest in someone who feels that way times 100. And so a very common situation that we get in is someone is a student here and they're about to complete their degree, or they have an amazing job at Google. And they say, I have this amazing job at Google, it pays me a lot, but I'm going to start this business, I'm so committed to it, and if only you, Mr. Investor, if only you would write a check,
Watch your step.
then I will quit Google and I will start this business.
Yeah.
And to us, that is like the worst signal ever, because it means, because if they thought they had the next Google, they would not hesitate to quit their jobs,
right.
and they would not hesitate to go all in. But they want you, the investor, to believe more than they do, because once you put your check in, only then will they leave. And that's just the wrong signal.
What's the worst attribute that an entrepreneur can possess?
Lack of integrity.
Say more.
Well, for us, if you can't trust what the founder is telling you, then you really can't be a partner to them. You can't really help them. You have to have a level of trust that is the bedrock of everything that you do. And so we have gotten, if you've done this job long enough, you will meet people who just lack integrity. People have lied. People have failed to disclose that they gave their father tons of shares in the company without telling, things like that. As soon as you discover something like that, we just can't work with them.
What is an attribute that every entrepreneur would fail if he lacked?
Persistence. Because I think with all of the most successful companies that you know today, they all faced existential crises. They were all going to go bankrupt. And the founder just kept going and going and going. And even when the founder knew that she was going to go, not suspected, but knew that she was going to go bankrupt tomorrow morning, the founders that you've never heard of, the companies you've never heard of, will gather their entire staffs and they'll say, sorry, we just can't make this work. You're all laid off. We're folding tomorrow. But it's the founder who goes to sleep that night and thinks about how to survive another hour, another day, another week, another month, another year. Those are the people who wake up in the morning figuring out how not to go bankrupt. And they keep going and going, and then you've heard of them.
Yeah.
PayPal was going to go under so many times because of regulation that they couldn't transmit money. Uber was illegal in most of the places that it started operating in. And a lot of people would just think, oh God, it's illegal. I don't want to go to jail. I'm out. And so they just kept going. And sometimes there are founders who don't have that persistence. And if they don't have that persistence, they won't last. Starting companies so hard that you really need that type of persistence.
Yeah.
So.
As someone who evaluates entrepreneurs for a living, how do you distinguish vision from delusion?
Oh, it's so hard. That's so hard. I remember seeing Airbnb and I just thought, no one's going to let strangers sleep in their guest rooms while they're still in the house. Those strangers could wake up in the middle of the night and steal everything in your house or stab you to death. Who's going to do that? That's just crazy. That's delusional. But of course it's not. So it's really hard. It's really hard. But again, I feel like the thing that we do is one derivative of what they're doing. The founders are actually figuring out how it can work. And we are thinking to ourselves, could this person really pull it off? And are the laws of physics violated by this person's idea? If the laws of physics are not violated by the idea, then you have to ask yourself, how could they make Airbnb work? And then the easy thing to do is to list the thousands of ways that it could fail, the thousands of problems with it. But that's the easy part. Anyone can look at a new idea and think, that's a ridiculous idea. Let me tell you why. The hard thing to do is to look at an idea like that again doesn't violate the laws of physics, and ask yourself, what must happen for everything to go right. And if all of those things happened and it went right, what could it be?
Yeah.
And if you asked that question about Airbnb, because it doesn't violate the laws of physics, then you would think, oh wow, this could be bigger than every hotel chain combined. And that takes a lot of imagination to think that way, because it takes almost no imagination to do the easy thing, which is just to tell you why it's going to fail.
I wanted to talk to you about OpenEvidence.
Okay.
Last time we met, OpenEvidence was valued at $6 billion, and
Yes.
I checked again, it's valued at $12 billion.
Amazing, isn't it?
What
Yes.
the hell happened?
OpenEvidence is the first and I believe only AI ever to pass the US medical licensing exam with a perfect score, 100%. And this is a company that was founded by an amazing guy named Daniel Nadler. He founded this company called Kensho, which we first backed, which was a financial analytics platform. And then he did OpenEvidence. So OpenEvidence is basically an AI doctor. And Daniel has struck content deals with the Mayo Clinic, the New England Journal of Medicine, to make this amazing AI that if you dump your medical records in and maybe we should go this way and ask it what's wrong with this patient or with you, it gives amazing answers. It will never hallucinate if it doesn't know the answer. It'll say so. Over half of all US doctors now use this every single day, which is a type of engagement that you never see. So when you ask what's going on, the thing is an amazing product. It gives much better answers than any of the underlying models because he struck so many amazing clinical data deals, and so people want to be part of it. So yes, there's a lot of demand in the market. We had backed him before in his prior company. So his prior company was called Kensho, and it returned 83x to X Fund, which was amazing.
My God.
Yes, no, it was really amazing. He funded a lot of OpenEvidence at the beginning himself, but then when he looked for external capital, we were lucky enough to be one of his very first people to back him.
What makes Daniel such a great entrepreneur?
Well, he is incredibly hardworking. And so, there are plenty of intelligent people. There are plenty of highly motivated people. But Daniel is just incredibly hardworking, number one. Number two, he really fixates. His level of focus is really enormous. I mean, for the first many years of OpenEvidence life, when others would have hired middle management or a financial manager, people like that, he was so fixated. He was just everyone reports to me and everyone's an engineer. And he just wanted that culture of building. And third, I think he's just he is a lateral thinker, because he has this very unique background. He didn't study computer science. He wasn't an engineer. He was an economist. He was a poet. He just has this expansive view of like you were saying before, he's one of those people who can very uniquely connect all these dots in a very special way. In our theory, those types of people are more able to invent new things. They're more able to, as Peter Thiel says, go from 0 to 1 than 1 to n. If you have a person who's a incredible computer science major or engineering major, and they're really, really deep in that one thing, they're amazing people like that who can go from 0 to 1 as well. But they're being taught how to make version 5 faster and cheaper than version 4. The people who don't study, who are humanities majors, they feel ignored by venture capital.
Right.
Because if you're a history major, or a philosophy major, economics major, most venture people are kind of biased against you, I think.
Yeah.
Because ventures become so technocratic. They're just really looking for computer science founders and engineers, and they don't feel like a poet or a philosopher can really do very much for them. And as a result, I think they work harder to prove themselves. And I also think the types of companies they end up founding don't really require deep technical knowledge. What is Airbnb? Airbnb is pictures of your guest room with a very simple calendar function,
Right.
which allows you to book your guest room. But it's not a technical achievement. It was just a very lateral, unorthodox thought that anyone could make very simply, but that the making of it wasn't the real challenge. The thought of it was.
Yeah.
And so that is the type of lateral thinking that we really go after. Good colleges like yours, teach you how to think, and they just the subject you're studying is just a vehicle to learn the same skill no matter what you study.
Right. Do you have an investment at X Fund that you're most proud of? You guys are an investor in Robinhood, SpaceX, Patreon. Is there one that you have like kind of you resonate with, especially that you're like, I'm so proud to be a part of that?
Well, I think OpenEvidence is such an extraordinary company because it's actually radically decreased. Go there. And it's radically decreased like the number of misdiagnoses that are happening.
Yeah.
It's helping doctors, especially in kind of non-urban areas that in which like it's, you don't have as many high-flying doctors. It allows doctors in really remote areas to really do things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do.
That's really interesting.
So, yeah.
In the next 10 years, what careers do you think won't be replaced by AI?
Most things that involve any sort of real human contact, I think are going to be the most valuable things.
So my job as a content creator is good?
I don't know. Actually, that's a good one. I don't know, because have you seen like the platforms that will just make a podcast out of nothing?
Yes.
I mean, it's going to get really good. It's pretty good now, and it's going to get even better.
Where do you derive most of your happiness from right now?
The same place as it's always come, which is the relationships with friends and family. So I just flew back from Boston, and every time I pass by the Boston airport, there's this little corner in the terminal where I remember I had once had this like really hard work thing that was like the whole company might go under. It was like, startup founders have this, these existential moments where their whole company might blow up. And I remember like talking with a good friend of mine in that corner, because I was about to board the plane. We had just gone to this meeting. Things were just blowing up. And I talked to my good friend in the corner, and I remember feeling like the awfulness of the moment, but then also the fact that this friend of mine, he helped me out so much. He was so like wise. He was so steadfast. He never gave up. I really, really needed him at the time. And so now so I just actually texted him this yesterday as I flew back from Boston. I was like, I don't know if I took a picture of this corner of this airport, and I said, I don't know if I ever told you this, but every time I pass by this, because flying through, I always have to walk by this particular spot. And every time I walk by the spot, I'm reminded of the awfulness of the situation. But more than that, I'm reminded like how much you helped me. And I just think I'm so lucky to have you as a friend. The ability to have that type of feeling is, I think, the thing that brings me the most joy. These just sound like kind of ordinary things.
They really don't, especially in your profession. I met these 3 girls.
Yes.
Very intelligent, from Berkeley.
Okay.
And I asked them, what's more important to you, love or success?
Yes.
They each, without hesitation, said success.
But I think that's why, Nat, like I feel like you're going to do really well, because you discovered this thing really early. And I think if early on in your career, your life, you think the love thing will happen later. It's always, you're always going to be able to like do something about it later. But the career thing needs to be done now.
Yeah.
And so it might be that those women that you met, right now that's their priority. And then as they get into their 30s, they'll be like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Now this, so, I think but I think the answer actually never changes no matter how old you are. And the earlier you have it, the better. Like if you were to eventually marry someone, you might think to yourself, oh yeah, let me take care of my career now. And then once I've taken care of my career, then I'll find a spouse and then get married and be fine. But actually there's a flaw in that thinking in my view, because technically you can at age 30, 40, 50, you could become a billionaire. It's possible. You could make a bunch of money. You could have huge success. But what you can't do at age 50 is you can't recreate a 30-year relationship. You'll never have that, Like my parents have known each other all their lives. And when my sister and I were sitting around our kitchen table growing up, like having them talk about, when they were saying things, like, because they grew up in the same neighborhood. And they would say, do you remember that guy who lived at number 6? On our road, remember he was like a little bit chubby, and we were like, yes. And my mother would be like, yes, I remember him. Why his nickname was like, and my sister and I always looked at that and thought it was so special because they had such a long shared history together. And I thought that was like so beautiful. And beautiful. I got really anxious actually that I would never have that, because unless like someone that I just like lived on the same street with or grew up in the same neighborhood with. And so I think it's like the women you talk to, I think, have it in the wrong order.
Yeah.
Because again, like you can achieve professional success later in life, but again, the thing that you really can't do is you can't from scratch recreate a 20-year relationship.
Yeah.
And so the earlier you start, the better.
It is so wonderful to hear that point reinforced by somebody who has achieved such professional success, in my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, that's fine. But a young guy like me who sees what you've achieved, sees the car you drive, and see how you conduct yourself with such humility, you are a man of admiration to me. I will say that.
Oh, thank
and to
you.
hear the fact that you still emphasize everything that I have been striving for, which is family, friendship, love. It's so wonderful to hear, and it really depicts the world in a way that's not bleak. I appreciate you giving me that insight.
That is so nice of you.
Yeah, I'm very, very grateful for your time and your wisdom and just being so kind and polite. You're such a delight to talk to and learn
That's so
from.
nice of you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You are too.
Thank you.